All right. Good morning. I'd like to call to order the March 21st Town Council meeting. It's a budget meeting where we'll be just having the department heads presenting their desires for this year's budget. There will be no public comments. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Does any council member have any conflicts of interest?
No.
Charlie?
Nope. No.
And I have none. Mayor Shannon Phillips is not available, and Councilman Jamie Phillips is not available, but we have 4 people here, so that's a quorum. So we're ready to go. Lisa, over to you.
Good morning. We're going to start out this morning with the fire department for them to present what they are requesting from you all this year.
Yeah, they have that.
All right, good morning.
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 So the packet you have in front of you is hopefully the same as what I have, and I think it looks like it. The cover letter there is just an intro. I'm not going to read that. You can, and we'll just get to some of the meat and potatoes of really what we'd like to do this year. I think as usual, the personnel items are being handled by Miss Anglin and the finance director. So that stuff will be coming at a later time, right? And the fire fee revenue, I think that stuff's probably been passed along to you at this point, but numbers, because of construction, the revenue is expected to go up again this year. So that's a good thing. I'll have a fire fee meeting with folks from the county and that advisory group here probably within the next month. So that's all on track and good shape. But the first budget item on the list after the cover sheet is the titled self-contained breathing apparatus. And there's a little bit of discussion and a dollar figure that shows what we need. And this is in conjunction with the 2020 FEMA AFG grant that we received actually last year. That project was a regional grant with Ocean Isle Beach for air packs to update those, upgrade, replace some outdated equipment. And that paid for almost half of what the project is in total. So the funds we're requesting in this year's budget will complete that project and move us forward into the next several years to take care of the breathing apparatus that we have on every apparatus and masks for all the personnel and so forth. So we were fortunate to get that grant, and now we're asking the budget to finish that project.
I have a question. There's no grant available this year.
The grant, we did apply for AFG on a different topic, but with the way FEMA changed the grant, they gave us, originally I asked for funding to replace the whole everything. And they came back and partially funded the grant, about 50% or so. With only stuff that we had out of service and out of date. So the funding they gave us last year was all we're going to get for that project.
And thank you for applying for that grant, by the way.
Mhm.
I know that they're a lot of work, so what you do to save the town money is much appreciated.
So this will, with this grant, for these breathing apparatus will be fully equipped for all the people on or projected to be on the department?
Yes.
In the department?
Every seat in all the big apparatus staff vehicles will have air packs for each seat. As that's done, and then with the number of masks, the face pieces, with the grant that we already have, that grant, the equipment's already came in. So the air packs, the masks that have already arrived, plus what we're doing with this, give everybody, all personnel, a mask. Air packs will be in every seat. The rapid intervention packs, all that stuff. There'll be one on every apparatus, so project will be done. Go ahead.
60, that is not part of any grant or anything at this point in time. The grant has already been spent last year.
Correct.
So that was for how much?
It totaled 95 or 98,000.
Okay, so-
somewhere around.
Around 90-some thousand.
Okay.
Is that the one that we did 5% of it?
Yes.
It was a 95-5 split?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And just to make sure this 160,000 is what you need to complete.
Yeah. So I've already gotten quotes from the local dealer, and that number is going to cover everything based off of what we see right now, and we may do some use the HGAC program to hopefully get that number maybe a little bit lower than that, but that's
This
what
is
we.
to replace existing equipment or to bring in new equipment where it's lacking now?
It's so the grant, we changed manufacturers, the air packs with the grant funding. So we have the same packs as some of the neighboring departments. So we have about half the air packs are one manufacturer right now, and half the air packs are another manufacturer. So that's a little bit of a challenge, but that was mainly because the grant didn't fully fund total replacement of everything. The old air packs we still have are still working, and they're on some of the apparatus, but they're 2 NFPA cycles out of certification, so they're getting old, and it's time to replace them anyway. So that's why I originally wrote the grant. So they're going to replace, this money will help replace the old ones that need to be going away and going out of date. And the challenge is some of them will be, as they break or issues happen with them, then they're going to go in the out of service pile anyways.
Okay.
Chief, what makes these newer packs better than the older packs? I think you've been hitting on a little bit here, but
New technology.
just new technology?
Yeah, the old packs we're replacing are 10 plus years old.
Okay.
So there's some new technology with the air pack masks, the face pieces. We can Bluetooth connect them to the radios, so that improves communication. There are some things with the thermal imaging devices and so forth. We can Bluetooth connect them, actually be able to see where other firefighters are in a room or in a building. So some of that technology is the biggest difference.
So this would make not only your firefighters more effective, but also safer, probably.
Absolutely.
Is any of this covered by the fire fee?
So we have the fire fee projections. but we don't have a comprehensive budget for everything. So the good thing about today is that you don't have to make any decisions. This is so you can see what they're presenting and then ask any questions that you have about like what you're doing right now. And then at the next meeting, I'll have our next budget meeting. Before, like a week or more before the next meeting, I'll give you the comprehensive budget with really close revenue projections, and then that's when we can kind of see this is covered by fire fees and this isn't, and that we may need to cut this or do less of these or whatever, kind of narrow everything down. But our hope would be that it's covered by fire fees. At this point, I'm not sure.
And last thing, Lisa, we're not at the point now where we're come to consensus on some of this. Okay.
Correct.
We're just listening and asking questions.
Right. You're just listening to the department heads today with what they're requesting. And I just will remind you that fire fees cover operation, basically.
Oh,
they don't
yeah.
cover capital.
Thank you. I don't have anything.
Are there any other questions? Mike?
No.
Good. I'm good.
All right.
Thank you, Paul,
Next item.
for that.
Next one on there is radio replacement. We've talked about this in previous years, doing a little bit at a time as the old portables, mobile radios go out of date, out of service, can't be repaired. So this dollar figure on here is replacing two more portables. I'd like to keep this in here just budget wise, but the county fire departments also applied for a regional radio grant, a FEMA AFG, and for this fiscal year. So want to budget this, but I'm also gonna not, if approved, I'm not gonna order these until we find out about that big grant. So if we get the big grant on a regional basis for some of the fire departments in the county, then this will be something that we don't have to do.
You said this for 2 radios?
Yeah, that $12,000 buys 2 portable radios.
And
Wow.
how many do we need total if we're going to do a full replacement?
Well, we have, over the last couple of years, we've bought a couple every year.
Yeah.
So we're getting, these ones will go on staff vehicles. Then really, we're in pretty good shape comparatively to some of our neighbors. The next one, I hope we get that regional grant, because then we'll be able to have some extra ones. The challenge we just got last year, some portables for the start replacing the beach patrol ones. And really we need 2 for every UTV. Right now we have 1 good one and 1 old one. So there's still a little bit of work to do there. There's also a couple more mobile radios, the base station radios at the firehouses. Some of those things are a little bit cheaper, but the portables are kind of the big ticket part of the radio system.
What's our total inventory of radios?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I can get it for you.
No, I'm just curious what
It's
this represents.
there's so we have 4 big fire trucks.
Mhm.
There's four portables on each one. There's right now there's 4 beach patrol UTVs. We got 4 of the new portables on there, and then 4 of the old ones.
Right.
Each staff vehicle, we have, what do we got? 5, 6 staff vehicles. So we're not quite there yet, but have 2 portables on each staff vehicle. And then there's a mobile in every vehicle. There's a So that's 6, 10. That's 10 mobiles, plus there's a mobile at each firehouse. So
That's a
Close
big
to
inventory.
50.
it's pretty comprehensive.
So is there some reason why we don't include that in the capital apparatus? So we keep track of what we want to do each year?
I think if anything, it might go into capital equipment, but the mobiles fall under that $5,000 threshold of capital. So if we buy one mobile a year, it doesn't really fall into capital, I don't think.
But here we're buying them for $6,000 each.
And the mobiles do. And I can probably the best thing to do if you want it is for me to give you a whole printout of all the portables. Instead of put it on that capital equipment form, because that's going to make it quite a bit longer.
Well, it's a lot of inventory, as you just explained, and John just pointed out they're not cheap. So if we can know what our status is, what we have to replace each year, and what we are replacing each year, that would be helpful, I think.
We have been adding radios or replacing radios
Regular.
on a regular basis for the last many years as I can remember.
Yep.
So,
Well, and the old black ones that we've had for over a decade in Sunset Beach are at some point, really we're getting to the point with them where they're not fixing them anymore. So as those ones aren't repairable, then they're essentially garbage and we can't use them anymore. So overall, we're in good shape. And I think the radio replacement plan that even started before I got here was a good thing to do. And we're getting close to, I'm not fearful of not having radios right now. So just improving things a little bit at a time each year, keep us in good shape. The other big variable too is the regional grant. If the county departments are successful with that, that's going to help out dramatically.
With the regional grant now, how many radios would Sunset Beach get? Did you know that yet?
The request I put in, yes, I requested a certain number, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Was it like 10 or was it like 5?
Something like that.
So, okay.
10 or more.
Okay.
But it basically everything we needed, or everything we thought we needed, we requested.
Okay.
But there again, it's going to be dependent on, one, if it's awarded, and two, what they fund. So there are some variables there.
Do you know when that decision is going to be made?
Potentially between now and September. Last year, I forget when it's all based off the federal government and when the funding rolls and when they start doing it. But I know they've started reviewing the grants already, so it's in the works.
So can we put that list together so we have some idea of what our inventory is and what our change out schedule is going to be? Okay, great. Thanks.
any other questions on radios?
Nope.
Oh, I have one quick. Do those also communicate with with our police department?
Yeah, so there's a whole nother radio bank within the portable, or any of the radios. They're all programmed so we could flip and talk to law enforcement.
Sort of like switching channels.
Yeah, we could, but that doesn't happen too often.
Okay, but if you need to, you can talk to fire. Like on a big fire or something like that where you have police support in the area. Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. No. Next item, please.
All right, the next one on there, the UTV replacement, and this is reflected in the capital apparatus replacement plan. We started using the John Deere UTVs, and these ones we we put them on a 3-year replacement plan, and that's worked out very well with number of hours. Actually, the first set of John Deeres we just got rid of, sold at the auction, and made a little bit of money back off of those. The 3-year, after looking at Deputy Chief Adams, Deputy Chief Childers, Captain McDonald, myself, we've been watching these and repairs and maintenance, and the 3-year, keeping them on a 3-year replacement plan has worked out well, and we think that'll be the best thing to do. There hasn't been huge repairs, a couple throttle cables, brake cables, routine maintenance annually to keep them running, so we haven't had downtime like some of the previous models. So our recommendation is, still buying 2 of these. Last year we replaced the first 2. This year we'll be replacing the second 2, and then we have it kind of set up with the UTVs and the jet ski. 3 every year we're buying 2 UTVs, and then jet ski, and keeping that rotation going, and it's been working well. So.
Well, according to this, you won't replace the other 2 until 2024 on the list here, right?
Yep.
Correct, because
Yeah.
we replaced 2 last year.
Yeah.
So they fell off. These ones will get replaced this year, hopefully, and then next year,
Nothing.
maybe the new jet ski we might try to push that depending on how it goes. And then, we'll stretch it out if we can, or we feel we can. The jet ski we might be able to push out a little bit longer.
What do these things go for at the auction?
Well, I'm sorry.
How much did we get out of the auction for these?
I want to say one was close to 4,000, and the other one was close to 3, maybe 2,500. So total, like 6,500 between the 2.
That helps.
Sell
Just-
2 of them, get half of one back. Okay.
Is this covered by the accommodation tax?
Yeah, this is accommodations tax.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions on UTVs? That's the last one you have, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the capital. The capital equipment replacement plan for.
Okay, well, one question on there for this year. According to your plan, your boat is due to be replaced this year, and you're not asking to replace it?
Not right now.
This is the Zodiac type boat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, doesn't need to be replaced yet? If it doesn't need to be replaced, we don't need to replace it, but I'm just,
At some point, the seams on that boat are going to give out, and when they do, that's when we'll have to look hard at replacing it, which may be any day, it may be a year from now. So we repowered it a year and a half ago when the old motor blew up, so we're looking at other options, and when we need to look further at it, I'll come back to you.
okay. And we're doing good on the fire trucks, the apparatus so far?
Yes, with what we've tried to do the last couple of years in establishing this capital plan or apparatus replacement plan, trying to get the big trucks. We have 4 big trucks, so getting them on a 5-year plan. So really to keep in mind every 5 years buying a big truck. I'm trying to stretch. You'll see on there the 2001 engine. So really that's over the 20-year mark, but I'm trying to stretch that. We'll hold on to that and keep maintaining it and keeping it operational for a couple more years so we can really get on try to stick to that 5-year plan that I discussed a couple of years ago when we sold the old ladder, bought the new apparatus, and really trying to get on a 5-year replacement plan.
So when we bought the Quint, it took a year for them to build it, or longer.
It took, if you take out all of our initial discussions and planning for it, from the time we said or approved ordering it to the time of delivery, it was about 9 months. That currently is extended. Actually, the price of the truck we have, and it's about a year old now. It'll be a year old in April. The price of that truck has gone up $100,000 in a year if we ordered it today, and delivery time is 12 to 15 months right now. It's extended that far, and some manufacturers are even saying 2 years. So that's what I'm kind of watching and juggling with, kind of that plan, and when we need to look at, even, next, over the course of this year, I'm going to look at delivery times, and I'll be paying attention to that. So if we need to look at ordering a year early so we get it on schedule, that's what I'm paying attention to that. And
That's where I was going. If this pumper, we're going to replace it in 2024, do we order that in 23?
potentially, but this year I'm paying attention to that. I'm talking to some of the manufacturers and really watching. So if we need to have that conversation next year about ordering it so we get it by 25, I'll keep you up to speed on that, or explain that if we need to.
Would you replace a pumper with another pumper truck, or it's been 20 years or so since we've had that one. Is technology and the trucks changed any or significantly?
Oh, yeah.
So would it still be basically a pumper truck, or would it be something more like a Quint? Or...
Well, so one of the things that I'm looking at is replacing it with a twin to what we got last year.
The Quint?
The Quint. One thing that's going to come into play too is we haven't gotten our final Department of Insurance rating back in that report, and one of the things that they look at is distribution of ladder trucks and engines. So having a twin to what we already have at Station 2 is probably going to improve our distribution with ladder companies and having the water with the engine. So right now, if you ask me, I'd say a Quint, but I want to wait till this Department of Insurance report comes back and see what it says. And but I think a twin to what we have now, or something very similar, is going to be beneficial to have at Station 2 in a couple of years. Just with all the development.
We're going to have a lot more business out in that area.
And we have, the backside of Sandpiper too, there's 59 3-story multifamily condo buildings. So having that type of resource close there is important too. So, but that's kind of what I'm thinking currently.
Question for Tara or Lisa. I don't remember. Did we pay outright for this, or did we finance it?
We financed it.
So we've got 2 trucks under finance right now.
Mm-hmm.
And is one of them nearing the end of that? These are 10-year finances?
Yes. So one of them, I'm not sure when I know the total that we owe right now is around $800,000, and that's for both of them. I want to say it's around $200,000 we have left on one, and like 500 and some, like 550 on the other.
Okay. That's the one we got in 2016. Or we got one 2016, 2021. Okay.
Yeah, one of the reasons too by buying a big truck every 5 years, if you do a loan for 10 years, then you're always going to have one, but one's dropping off when the new one starts. Was kind of my plan with setting it up this way too.
So Tara, the one that is the smallest amount that we owe, when is that due to expire? When does that loan due to expire?
I have to look and see the date on it. I'm guessing probably around 2025, 2026, if it's 10 years.
I think it's 24, 25, somewhere. It's right around there, because that was one thing I remember looking at when I started putting this together.
Any other questions?
No, that's good.
Anything else, Chief?
That's it for now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
all the
Thank you,
service your
Paul.
department provides.
Now the fun begins.
All right.
Those are the scuba things, or
Okay.
the air packs and stuff, I think.
All right. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning.
So I'm not as fancy as Chief. I don't have a cover letter or anything like that. But the first thing you have in front of you is the stormwater budget, projected projects for this year to be completed. I wrote a little description about why we chose these projects compared to other projects on the list of our CIP. What we've noticed through our camera inspections and our back work is that these 4 jobs right now are more pressing to be done than some of the other projects. That I did talk with Charlie this morning about 27th, 29th Street, where actually we had an emergency thing go on and we had to fix this pipe. So we're actually even more so done with that now. So we're only lacking 28th, 29th Street really, instead of 27th all the way to 29th Street. So the projection of that cost will be a little bit lower. I'd say about 15 or 20,000. But these projects total 196,000. These asphalt aprons at the bottom of the table, they're for kind of sediment mitigation. It's a radius around each catch basin to try to eliminate the most we can of rocks getting in our basins, sediment getting in our basins, clogging up our pipes, things like that, instead of just having that vegetation around them on the island.
What is used there? Is that stone that you put around, or is it something else?
The asphalt,
What do you put around the catch basin?
the asphalt aprons,
Yeah,
asphalt.
well, just asphalt. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah. But I did. I also made a list of these projects that would be left on our CIP. The remaining projects, there's 7 of them altogether. With out of 46 projects, we would have 7 remaining after this year.
After this year.
And
that originally was a 10-year projection, right?
Yes.
and we're in technically starting July 1st, we'd be in year 5. This July 1st, we'd be in year 5. So we're way ahead of schedule, thankfully. But these projects that I listed down here that are remaining after this year, they a lot of them aren't in that bad of condition. We've also, like I said, we've been looking at them, monitoring them. Some of them that have big prices on them, we can break them up into different years. That way the cost would be lower, and just go ahead and fix those as time goes on. A couple of them have paving coming up. So, I mean, we're not going to fix something and then pave over top of it and have to tear that pavement up, and you know what I mean? So, with that, that's kind of our projections for this year of stormwater. And the next page is your list of all the projects. The green is obviously good. Red is bad, but like I said, the red project.
We didn't get color.
Oh, okay.
The default was black and white. And I didn't.
Sorry. But like I said, some of these projects will be completed this year, and some of them have already been halfway completed with our budget that we're asking for this year. So, yes.
So it's a question about the priority. You have the 27th, 29th Street listed as a low priority, but it's collapsed, you say, negative slope.
Yeah, it's bad shape.
Right. So they put this project together in 2017, and I'm assuming when they did this, the engineering firm, that they might not have seen it or it wasn't that bad at the time. That's why they put it so low in the list. But as we monitor it, it is become very bad. It's single wall plastic pipe, okay, which doesn't have a long life on it, 20 years at max. And what is happening is it's collapsed.
Doesn't seem like that should be a low priority.
It shouldn't. So,
So
like
these priorities are based on the plan from 5 years ago.
Yes.
It's not based on today's assessment of what
So
the situation is.
to switch that up, Mr. Borman, it would be high priority right now.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I just
That makes
left it
sense.
low as what
I got you.
what they had. So that's why it's on this list. And like I said earlier, we have already done 27th, 28th Street. We're finishing it actually as we speak. Got guys out there right now finishing it up. So
Okay, great. Thanks. Yep, understood.
But to make that complete, it's got to go all the way to 29th.
yes, sir. Yes, it does.
Is between 28th and 29th, is there collapsed pipe there?
That's actually the worst spot, to be honest.
And just so everybody knows, I own a house on 28th Street, and myself and my neighbors, every heavy rain, we've had a terrible flooding problem. And I've been after the town to do something since before I sat on the council. So, and of course, my neighbors complain to me, and I don't blame them. Some of it's been terrible. Y'all put in new catchment basins on Main Street, and then a couple houses up 28th, and you put another one.
Yeah, there's another one
So
across the
there
road.
was 3 added, and
Yes.
that's made a difference. And if you look from Main Street north, you see how the street is lower and then it raises up.
Mhm.
And one of my neighbors took the petition around to try and get the street paved, but the people at the higher end of the street don't see a need for it, so we didn't get it. But I mean, that's the way things work. So I think it would make a real big difference if we finished 28th to 29th.
And we will, Charlie. It's just that we have to get easements. The one that's going in between 27 and 28 was a emergency. There was a lot being sold, so we had to move quickly to repair what needed to be fixed. So that section that here, but on the next section, we'll have to get an easement signed by the property owners for us to continue on, and that's in this phase here to get them signed easement to continue on and go through it.
It was my understanding that all those easements were in place.
They were signed, but not documented, not legal.
Okay.
It was actually a letter
Yeah.
that the town sent around at that time, and they got the owner's permission then. Those owners have changed.
Yeah.
So we're getting legal deeds of easements that will be placed with the Register of Deeds. So regardless of ownership, that easement will transfer.
Yeah.
And this could be done before June. We're actively getting those easements now.
So all these other projects on down the line, Fairway, Canal Drive, 2 on Canal Drive, these are also priority.
Yes, sir. They are.
Are we working on the easements for those two?
Well, one of them we don't need an easement at all. It's catchment 18. It's actually on canal itself in our right of way, so we can take care of that ourselves. catchment 16, it does actually go through someone's yard. So we will need to have their permission to kind of tear up their yard a little bit. I mean, we'd restore it the best we could, sod or whatever, but we'll need their permission to go through there.
Right. Well, I hope we'll be working on that now, so when the time comes to do that project.
Yes, sir.
If you all remember when stormwater issue came up, I wanted it to be a 5-year plan, because there are people all over town that have the flooding issues.
Right.
So anyway, being ahead of schedule is great. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So is the town doing all this work, or is it any of this contracted out?
Some of it will be contracted out, depending on the size of the job, and utilities, engineering, things like that. I mean, if it's a simple A to B pipe job, we can take care of that in-house as long as we're not bogged down with other tasks around town. Some of these will be, with this coming year, I'd say at least 2 of them will be contracted out.
Okay. And so if we work through all of these and there's still money left, you would continue down to the remaining 7 projects?
Yes, sir.
As you go through there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it wouldn't just stop because, all right.
No. Yeah, our goal obviously is to get all these completed. That way, all we have to do is monitor them and back them out accordingly, and just keep it all in house. Keep up with everything.
Does any of this, and this is probably a Tara question, the American Rescue Plan, the stuff that's being advertised in that is one of the things is money for stormwaters and League of Municipalities and various other places keep saying there's lots of grant money out there.
So the state has money, and it has to fall under the clean water drinking, or clean water or clean drinking water
quality
projects. And I don't really know which of our projects would be that. So that would be, I know that there's money available, but I don't know anything about stormwater or clean water acts, that type of thing.
And
So it's kind of a combination thing of.
So who is doing the research to see what we have that's qualified for outside grant? I mean, a lot of this, some of that water is whether it's clean water or mitigation or however it is, it refers to water that comes off the land and goes into the marshes, as well as the intercoastal, as well as the river. And we have Calabash River in there too. So
Dustin and Matt and Vicky are actually attending webinars with the state right now to determine the state got a pot of money.
Big pot of money.
Big pot of money from the feds. And they're looking at those webinars and seeing if we qualify for any of those grants. And if we do, we would definitely be going after that money.
Okay.
absolutely.
We have had at least 2 of our citizens who have volunteered their services to assist in grant writing. So when you get to the stage when you need to have somebody sit down to do, the basic work of the core work, that they can do that.
Absolutely.
So get all the grants we can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Free money is good.
Yes. Okay. Any other questions on stormwater?
All of, and this may be just Public Works side also. It would be useful, I think, somewhere we have a capital equipment list for DPW and stormwater. That should be added into our capital improvement plan. I mean, you got the vacuum truck, you've got front end loaders, you got a lot of heavy equipment and things that we probably, it would be useful to have that on our programmed life cycle.
I have a fixed asset list for depreciation purposes, but it's not really necessarily an all-inclusive inventory. I don't know if that's what you're. I mean, I have the fixed asset.
Right. I mean, you have a lot of trucks,
Yeah.
You got a lot of equipment,
Yeah.
earth moving, digging, stuff like that. Trailers and those things
Right.
that would be good to be on our capital improvement plan for the stormwater
Yeah.
DPW list.
There you go.
Well, that's part of the reason for purchasing the land across the street is the new home for DPW. Have a lay down yard to bring supplies in and have a big enough building to get all this expensive equipment out of the weather.
Yep.
It'll extend the lifespan of these things and should keep from having repair work done. So
Okay. No problem.
Okay.
There we go.
Right. Anything else, Matt? Dustin, your turn.
Next.
Yeah. Well, for this year's budget for the 22-23, we looked at the roads, had engineered to evaluate them. That it looked like Old Point Lane was one of the worst, and we looked at doing Magnolia from Station Trail to Pine View, doing a section of that for this year's budget for street repaving.
And do we have an estimated cost for the budget?
About 300,000. So 140 of it will come out of Powell bill.
Whenever,
Yeah.
yeah, as soon as I get the Pell bill projections,
Yeah.
we don't have any revenue projections yet.
No, we haven't got that yet. What you said?
so roughly 300K and then 140 from the Powell bill.
Yes. Something like we did last year or this year's for paving. I think it was 140 with 150 coming out of the streets. I think for a total of 3. I think what it was.
Okay. And this is part of you kind of keeping track of all the roads that we own.
Yes,
And,
we about a year ago or 2 years ago we had an engineer to come in and do an evaluation
Yeah.
and looked at the roads, and this was part of the plan.
And then when this is done, this is out on contract, right?
Yes, it will be out on contract.
And is this dollar amount 300,000 sort of according in line with the engineer's plan projection going out? Would this dollar amount and these roads kind of keep us on track
Yes,
over time?
yes.
Do we have a forward-looking plan as to what to expect in the coming years in terms of roads?
Yeah, I take the engineer plan or the report that he gave me, and I look at them and the conditions of the roads, and I go out and look at them too, and to see because some roads, some of the changes, it depends on the weather of how it goes. Like a couple years, about 5 or 6 years ago, when we had that hard freeze, we had Crooked Gully that fall apart, and we had to go in there and fix it. So as the years goes, I take the plan what the engineer gave me. I'll go out and I look also, and also look at other roads because some roads move a little bit faster than the other roads. So I'll also do evaluation too. But I try to stick to what the plan is.
No, this only deals with town roads,
Correct.
not state roads or anything like
No,
that.
only town roads.
The biggest ticket item that's on that list right now is Clubhouse Road, and it's like $2 million to do Clubhouse Road entirely. So we will split that road over a couple of years.
Yes. That was in the next phase, but the construction that's going on Clubhouse, we decided to hold off on it a little bit and let some of the construction slow down before we go in there and pave it.
Yeah, no need to.
Yeah, good thinking.
And that's, yeah, we got around Clubhouse, you got all kinds of developments, and we still have several more
Yeah.
in track. So it's not good to pave it and then have all the heavy trucks running up and down the road for the next 2 years.
Yes. So that's what I mean. As we go along, I do evaluation of the roads as we do this.
Any other questions on roads? Okay, next topic, please.
The next topic is asked to replace a 2007 F-150 that was transferred from the building inspections to the Public Works Department. It's still it's functioning, but the shifting is not exactly right. They had transmission problem. We've been, like I said, come to us. We're still having transmission problems. The light stays on, off and on. As you're driving, it beeps constantly. So we would like to look at replacing it with a cine cab with a Tommy gate on the back of it on 4-wheel drive that will help us with wheelchairs, generators, air compressors, anything that we need to move around. This truck here would help us, where the other truck does not have a Tommy gate, don't have no lift capacity, this narrow wheel. So it will help us move a lot of stuff when we need it. Because right now I have 2 in service, but one is a 13. But this will help us out more. So if one of them goes down, it only leaves me 1. And sometimes that has happened.
So do we have a capital equipment list like we do for the fire department? When I look through the list
Yeah.
here, there's a
Yeah.
bunch of
Yeah, break
equipment.
it down.
Yeah, that's in line with what we said with stormwater. To
Right.
Put all those things on there.
And I'm talking with our engineer right now about coming in and doing a comprehensive capital improvement plan
Yes.
townwide, so that we could take all these pieces and put them into one, which would help with budgeting. Because once you do that capital improvement plan and you approve it, then all of that stuff automatically falls into the budget. So you would basically eliminate this meeting, because if it's on the capital improvement plan to be replaced in that year, it automatically goes into that budget. So I'm
Unless-
waiting for him.
Unless it actually doesn't need to be replaced.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Still should be
Exactly.
discussed, I think.
Well, it would be
Yeah.
If
every
something
year.
on the plan, then it's okay, yes, but if
And it's
something-
a 5 or 10 year plan, and then every year, you're looking at it going out.
Yeah.
But it just gives us from administration and finance standpoint, it just gives us a better tool to look at the budget and be able to predict better of what money you're going to have to spend in a given year.
Yeah. Well, I think the comments that we have made today indicate, we like that idea.
Absolutely.
Like that idea
Absolutely.
very much. I think
Absolutely.
that, and you can zero in on 10 years and you can see if you really need to replace or not replace, but it's going to be replaced pretty quick. So,
Right, right. Councils in the past have got hung up on the idea of a capital improvement plan because it automatically drops things into the budget. But you all always have the power to remove anything from the budget as you see fit. It just makes it, like I said, it's just a better tool for administration and finance to be able to develop the budget on the front end.
Yeah.
But it's still discussed in great detail.
Yeah, several years back, we got stuck with a whole lot of major equipment that needed to be replaced. And the
Absolutely.
idea is to just program these out so we don't get that surprise. There could always be exceptions, emergencies, or something like that. But that's
There is
Right.
an upfront cost to the plan, which is also, I think, where councils can get hung up because there's a cost to having this plan put in place
Right.
and having an engineer do it. But they also can look at the growth of the town and what the town's needs possibly are going forward. So they sort of project out 5 years, project out 10 years. Every 5 years, you have them come in and look at it and update it. Okay, the town's growing even more in the next 10 years. We need to look at the next 5 years out. So there is a cost to the upfront, which is why we really haven't presented it yet, because we're trying to figure out what that cost would potentially be.
And I'll
But
be
I think-
bringing that as soon as the engineer gets me the cost.
all right.
I might be jumping the gun, but I think I'd be in favor of that because how I feel about capital improvement budget. So
So I do think, though, I'm not really in favor of something dropping in automatically. There could be years that you have to trade off certain projects for others based on what amount of money you have, based on the absolute necessity of certain things and maybe less so for others. So having something drop in is not something I'd be in favor.
No matter
Yeah.
what, council has to approve the budget.
Right.
You can't, it's not saying this is your budget for the next 5 years.
No,
When it's
good.
dropping in, when she means dropping in automatically, it's what your need is that
That's
year.
right.
So
No, that's
you
fine.
know that you really
Yeah.
do need to do this year, but you always have the
final
final
say.
say.
Good. Okay. Understood.
So you would see the CIP and you would know that X, Y, and Z has been included in that budget already. And then that's when you would talk to the department heads about, do we absolutely need to do this or can it be pushed off to next year? We'll have those discussions during our budget meeting. Instead of them coming and presenting, it'll be there for you to ask questions and to decide if you want to eliminate it or not.
Okay.
Now, the cost that you see of 50,000 is not the price. This is not always their contract, state contract. Matt called around to dealers and someone would not give him a price yet. So one dealer told him the best thing to do is go on and build it. So that's what we did to get a price to throw in here. So it could be less than this.
We're just being
Okay.
super careful
Yes.
this year because this past year the state contract opened and closed within like 3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
Because of the demand and not enough supply. So the dealerships were like, we can't fill any more orders. We're done. Like we can't put any more on the state contract. So to come in a little bit higher is the safest bet because there's no guarantee we'd be able to get in on any contracts with the state.
So the idea is, one is make sure we got enough money in the budget to cover it, and two, that we're ready, that once the state opens them, we have our requirement ready to submit.
Yes.
Is that
Yeah.
okay?
And just like with the fire truck, the vehicles that we ordered July 1 last year, we've received in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, we just
Okay.
got them.
All right. Well, look at the bright side. It's the same fiscal year.
That's the bright side.
Okay.
So was the transmission tried to be serviced or anything, or you say it's slipping? Because
Yeah.
80,000 it's not terrible for a truck.
No, it's not, but it's a beat around. You stop and go. But we got it from the inspection department. We need another truck. They give it to us, and they've had it worked on. And there's a transmission problem. The light still comes on when you're driving it, and yeah,
Okay.
Well, it's also 15 years old.
Yeah.
You can make a vehicle last for a long time, but under the conditions these are used, everything else on that truck has been wearing out since day one. So,
And this is one of the vehicles that we don't let leave town.
no,
Just like the Escape,
Yeah.
it doesn't leave town anymore because it's subject
Yeah.
to quit at any
Right.
minute.
Now, this replacement will be able to go out on the beach.
yes,
Is it 4-wheel drive?
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions
Nope.
on the vehicle? Thank you.
The next item you see is we're asking for a what you call all-in-one pressure washer trailer. Right now we have what you call a steam genie, but it runs off of diesel, but it does produce hot water, but you gotta have electricity to run it. So if we need to do it, use anything for it, we have to load the generator with it, and also to take the unit also and put it on the trailer and haul it to where we need it to, like if we need to go to the bathrooms or go to the park. If we need, the park has a pair, but we had to take a drop cord with us. With this here, or like the monuments were over there and the veterans, there's you have to take a tank over there and do it. You can't take both. With this here, we'll be able to transport all of it at once and go to the bathrooms at the gazebo, bathrooms at the park, and be able to wash, or the entrance signs, the welcome signs, and pressure wash them with hot water instead of using the cold water and scrub it on what we need to do to get them clean. With this here, it's all in one unit.
Will all this pressure washing equipment be on the trailer all the time?
Yes.
So just,
Yes,
Okay.
it's all one unit.
So we don't have anything like this now.
No, we do not. All we have is a trailer with a tank on it. Or if we need to take the tank, we have to hook it up to the truck because the tank is sitting on the trailer right now. Then you had to load the pressure washer on the back of the truck or separate trailer, and you got to run the generator with it.
Do we have a place to store this if we get it?
Yes, we do. We can take the place of the tank and the trailer we have now.
Okay.
Surplus it.
The existing trailer that we have now, sorry,
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
existing water trailer that we have now would be taken out.
Yeah.
It'd
Okay.
all this would do is we'd get rid of this trailer comes with the pressure washer and the 220 gallon tank on it with a garden hose for low pressure, right?
Right.
And then a high pressure hose to, like he said, bathrooms, monuments, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
The trailer we have now, 220 gallon tank, just has a garden hose on it. Can't
Got
fit
it.
anything else on it, so small. So what we would do is surplus the existing trailer
Mm-hmm.
and the water, the pressure washer that we have now.
Got it.
And it's also by industrial cleaning supplies or equipment, industrial cleaning equipment that already services our pressure washer. This is the quote I got. So we already have a contract with them.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I'm good.
And we surplus all equipment,
Yeah.
vehicles, everything. We do surplus sales every year to get rid of, to get back any kind of money that we can.
Next item.
The Public Works Department is looking at acquiring a 20-ton equipment trailer. This trailer right here would actually haul tobacco. Right now, we do not have a trailer right now in our fleet that would haul this. If the town is purchased this across the street, this would help us move tobacco faster because instead of us having to drive it to the island, we can actually put it on the trailer, put it behind the dump truck, and move it there a lot faster than us having it at the distance that we are at now. I know right now where we at the foot of the bridge, we've seen us drive it over.
I do.
That it's a little faster than loading it, but if we move here at the distance that we have to go, we can load it up on the trailer and move it a lot faster where we need to get to over there and other places in town that we need to. At times, because the fire department has called for us to go help remove dirt off the roads, like in Georgetown one time, and we had to drive it. I had to drive it out there to do it. Or anything that happens side of Sea Trail, we have to, but this area will help us load it up and move it also transport it a lot faster.
Could it be used for anything else?
Yes.
I mean, I'd assume
Oh, yeah.
it would be pretty useful for you.
Oh yeah, we can use it for wood. We got the other trailers that we use, the whole pipe, catch basins. This thing it'll be used a lot. We can use it for anything like that.
Okay.
Also, but we also surplus the Hudson trailer that we have in our fleet to make room for this one.
Do the pickup trucks that we have now, are they big enough and adequate enough to pull this around with a full load on top of it?
The two dump trucks we have, the 750s, will have to hook up to this.
The dump trucks?
Yes,
Okay.
to haul it.
Any other questions?
No.
Nope.
All right, thank you. Next.
Next is for the beach erosion for the upcoming season for replacement of the beach accesses. There are 4 of them: 9th Street, 39th, 34th, and 37th on Walkway. A couple years, about 2 years ago, we had an engineer come in and do an evaluation of the walkways, and this is a list of some of the walkways that he gave us. But like I said, that we look at them. Matt has thrown in 39th for me. Also with the condition, they told me it was in very bad, so we moved it up in the list. So roughly $500,000, it would come out of the beach erosion fund, where this would come out of.
Who would do this work?
A contractor.
Contract.
Yes, it's too big for us.
This is sort of scary. I've been having some work done around my houses and the cost of lumber. Uh, Unbelievable. So 500,000 may not be enough.
Did you calculate in an inflation factor for the wood materials?
Well, the four that we just done, 40th Street and 3 on the east end. 40th Street is going to be about 1,000 foot long when that's done. And the other ones are like going to be between 400 to 600 foot long. So that bid come in at 310. No, at 410. At that bid come in. So we went to 500,000 for this one. Because the year before when we looked at it I think it was a little less than what we bidded. So we had to come back to y'all and ask for more money for the contract. So this time we wanted to go higher than what the actual contract was for this year's. So we went to 5.
So what happens? We published that we're putting this out and that we're budgeting 410. Doesn't that automatically tell the contractors that they can bid 410,000 or somewhere in that? Doesn't that kind of mess up our negotiating position? Just out of curiosity.
They would have to come and look at this meeting specifically because the budget that we have out there is just infrastructure and repair. It doesn't say specifically this one will cost this much, this one will cost this much, this one will cost this much. So it's just we have that much in the budget, but they don't know if it was for other things as well. I mean, they would have to come and see this where we're saying.
So you're not really worried about it skewing the bids that come in?
Every government has to have a budget for something.
Mm-hmm.
And this comes out of the beach erosion fund.
Yeah.
This is the only thing basically that we can spend that money on.
Yeah.
So this isn't general fund. This is beach erosion fund.
Yeah.
Well, we still want to spend it prudently.
Well, of course. I'm just making note for everybody that this isn't general fund money. This is
If we can kind of backtrack on the contract for this year had a completion date before this season. Was it before Memorial Day or middle of May, something like that?
Towards the end of May.
May 31st.
Yeah.
This is deadline.
Okay, that's after Memorial Day weekend. Okay. So, are they going to make it? 40th Street's one of the slower projects. It's competing with Boston.
He is out to the end, to the flat, and but he's halfway done. He's waiting to move his machine down to the next one to start driving pilings. He's about done. I think he's pretty close to done setting pilings on 40th. And just as soon as he got through with that one, and the first of this week, he was moving it down to the next one to start setting pilings there. Then he'll be able to stay on this end, on this end.
Will he make it?
He's assured me that he's still shooting to be done before Memorial Day.
It'll be
There's a penalty in his contract if he's not done.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what it is, but there's a dollar amount for every day
Yeah.
that he goes past it.
Now, for the beach erosion fund, what is that?
Beach erosion fund is part of the accommodation tax. So we get we get 6%, 1% goes to the county, 3% goes into the accommodation tax, and 2% goes into the beach erosion fund. Typically what we do every year is just kind of match what my projections are in the beach erosion fund to what the expenses and the revenues of what the projections are, which we can do that again this year. That's what we did last year. And then we just came back to you and said, we need to do this. And there's
Couple of million.
over $1 million.
Mm-hmm. I think it was, yeah.
Right now, there's over $1 million in the beach erosion fund? Okay, I was going to ask, what's the
Yeah,
current?
I mean, it's probably close to 2. I can't remember the exact number.
So what else do we use it for?
That's it.
That's it.
It's restricted.
So what
That's
most towns is it's for beach renourishment.
Yeah, but
So we're accruing sand instead of it being depleted. These
Well, we also
other
have to take it away too from the walkways and things. So I assume it comes out of that as well. Yes.
so what's that?
when we clear the walkways and things like that, I
No.
mean, they,
No,
That's just
that's
just
just op-
labor.
that's just operation.
What do we
DPW
use it
in-house
for that?
work.
That's just operation.
Yeah.
That's just part of the operation.
I mean, it is part of erosion.
Yeah, but one of the aspects is that's also an emergency fund. You know,
Yeah.
when if we get hit by a hurricane
Yeah, of
and
course.
half of the access ways at the beach get wiped away, you know, that's the fund that we use to replace all of that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's good to have $2 million in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good insurance policy.
Next one?
The next one is the location of the building, the gazebo in the park. That's roughly, I think it's 38 by 38. I think the size it was. I looked to see again. So the gazebo would be placed in front of the bathrooms at the park. That's in the big green space area that you see that's in between where the bathrooms are located in the park, right across the walking path where the gazebo was supposed to be built. And with this here built there, then the walking path would connect to the walking path that's there now to the gazebo, and it'd be all pervious. Same bricks. We already have the bricks already in storage. So all we would have to do is buy the rock and the flanges for the side for that. With the gazebo, you could it'd be about 2 foot off the ground with a ramp in the back, with a handrail to meet the ADA standards. Also with electricity, also possibly in the floor with Trex. But also if you can hold the concerts or anything else that you want to do here with this also when this is done.
Will it be covered?
It will be covered. We already have the plans, but we have them moved a little bit around with the plans, some of the engineer plans that we had, but we'll have to go back out because initially the plans was for it to set flat on the ground. Us looking at it, you wouldn't want to have the band where anybody's sitting flat on the ground, so I elevated about 2 foot off the dirt. So it'd be elevated a little bit, but it'd be open, like I said, around it, but there will be a ramp in the back to any handicap or the bands to roll their equipment up on.
Yeah.
For it to take place.
Dustin, would this be something, there be a grant out there for doing something like this, or is this no grant can be found for this type of thing?
I don't know if part of
Part
grant. I don't think a part of grant
Would
could
part
be.
of work for this?
I don't know if a part of grant will work for this or not, but we can look into it.
Just
Yeah.
a thought.
Yeah. I mean, again, anything we can do a grant, send it in, see what happens. Now, big question on this. If I recall correctly, a gazebo was part of the original park plan.
Correct.
So this was already in the plan. So the issue of permeability in the park is all covered and not an issue.
Yes. This
Correct.
was the gazebo was never taken away from the plan.
No.
It just was not built.
This is the only thing that's left. It's not built in the park.
Should have been built.
All right. So this would be, we approve this, budget it, go up a contract, and it would be
In the fall,
Winter.
winter before this is built.
that they would build this.
Yes.
Okay.
And you already have the plans.
So, but we had to go back to the engineer that done it so we could have it because they initially had a concrete slab on the for the basically ground level, but I looked at it as like the one that's up here by Fibbers that you wouldn't want to have a band sitting flat on the ground.
No, you want to have them
You
up a
want
bit.
them up. You want them
So I looked at elevating it about 2 foot and looked at putting a ramp around it in the back to help with everything.
It's 2 feet enough?
Not sure.
There's
Not
about
sure.
22, 23 inches. I've already measured it.
Okay. That's the one they have at the gazebo and
Yes.
already?
Yes.
He's our band expert.
That's right.
The
So you're
gazebo
going to refine
appears.
you're going to refine these plans, right, as we
Yeah.
get closer?
The thing is, the higher you go off the dirt,
Yeah.
the longer the ramp you got to build.
That's true. That's very true.
Understand that.
The one that we use now
Yeah.
for the band, for the concerts, is 2 feet off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be interested in looking at, how what's the diameter of this thing? Is it important? You don't have to know now.
You said 38 by 38.
I think it is. I have to look back at the plans again.
That's that's bigger than the one out there, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that one's only about 25 feet wide.
Is it octagon?
It's octagon shape, just like the one at the gazebo, but that out there is about 28 across diameter. So you can just think of this there's going to be a little bit bigger than what that is out there at the gazebo.
Would we also be able to rent this out for weddings and stuff?
Yes.
And that, and so we'll have to
Absolutely.
do a fee structure with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of weddings that takes place at the cover scene area now.
Mhm.
That would be popular.
That'd be good. Yeah,
Any other questions?
that's good.
Well, we could pretty much ensure that anybody that's renting the park, the markets, or plausibility, or any ones that we have already, we just build that into the fee that they pay. So we'll increase that fee when we look at the fee schedule.
If they want to use it.
Right.
Yeah, we wouldn't require them to use it if they don't need it or don't want it.
Well, I don't know how you would be able to prevent somebody from using it. So I think you would want to build in that automatically into your fee. I think we charge $25. Is that what we're doing now? Application fee?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, special events and stuff like that.
Charge for the covered seating area?
Yeah, there's a
Okay.
charge. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll need to build that in.
Yeah, electric. The electric is run, but we might have to run electric over to the gazebo. But there is electric already in the middle that we could utilize also with this. But we will put the plugs in the base and the floor, so it'd be easier to hook up to than have the base plugs around the outer side.
Good.
While we're still talking about the park, a while back you were considering looking at putting some type of irrigation in the park. Is that still a consideration?
It's difficult to irrigate the park
Yeah,
because there's where the tree cover is.
Yeah.
Grass is just not going to grow. It's just not. And everywhere that it can grow, it is. So there's really not a
Also,
real
running
need.
pipes where there's roots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've lived through that. That's,
Oh, yeah.
you would have to
That's
do
a nightmare.
several water taps,
Yeah.
bring in several irrigations to try to do that.
Okay, well, just to put it out there on the record that we're not looking to do an irrigation system for the park. That had
Right.
been under discussion in the past. Okay.
Yeah, be a lot of digging across some roots. Yes.
The other thing that will be included for the park is the 9/11
Yeah.
sculpture that we're having developed right now. We're going to put about 50,000 in for that. Don't know what that looks like yet.
Yeah.
The artist is still doing some.
Is that going to come up somewhere
Mhm.
in the, okay. In this budget presentation?
No.
Today.
Just now. Just now.
There it is. We just did it.
Yeah, just now.
There's the
Don't
presentation.
blink.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's fine.
Don't know what it's going to look like, but it's coming. Dustin and I met with the 9/11 committee that put on the ceremony for us, organized the ceremony this year. And we met with the artist that developed the sculpture that is on the time capsule that sits in the main lobby or the foyer. And he is developing some things for us to look at. That's what you all will finally see at some point in life.
Okay.
And then you will choose which one, and then he'll build it or make it or whatever artists do. And then we'll put it up. We're looking at putting it waterway side of the memorial.
Yeah, right behind the memorial. If you basically it'll be in line
From the entrance to the statues to the flagpole and then
Behind it.
out behind
Yeah,
in
right.
that line is where it would
Right.
be. Okay.
thankfully, Ludovita, who put all this in motion, he's also a member of the Committee on America's Veterans. John and I belong to, and he filled us in on it at our last meeting. And so this be a great thing to have for the town. For
Okay.
No more?
Thank you,
Anybody
Justin.
else?
You
Is
all-
that
Any other
all?
questions?
That's all. That's all I got.
We're broke now.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Dustin.
Dustin.
Dustin does
Matt,
spend the
you
most
too.
money out of all the departments.
What's that?
So Dustin does spend the most money out of all the departments.
I'm not so sure about
Well,
that.
his budget doesn't come as close to the fire and the police departments.
Not even, yeah.
You can take a break.
All right, yeah. How about taking a 10-minute break? Is that okay with everybody? Okay,
Yes.
let's go into recess. Order. Back in session. Lisa, Tara, who's handling the police?
Did.
Testing, testing.
Okay, so Tara and I are going to present the police department's request.
You probably need to be closer to the mic. It doesn't sound
Am
like.
I'm on? Yeah,
Now
I'm
you're on.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Tara and I are going to present the police department's wish list for you all today, as Ken and Joe neither are available today. They've given you an introduction of what they're, but I'm not going to read that. Y'all can read it at your leisure. On their CIP, it's this is the year to replace the 2017 Fords. They're looking at what's that, 76,000 total.
No, 172 fully equipped. So this was the year that all of those, I think we bought like 8 cars in 1 year.
The
Where we did the
take-home
bid for the
vehicles.
take-home vehicles. This would have been the year that those would have been replaced. But with talking to the police chief, he believes that there's some of the cars that didn't have as much mileage put on them as was anticipated. And so some of the cars will be able to last longer than what his original projection was. And so that's why he's presenting the 3 this year. That was the basic of what I had gotten from my conversation or our conversation with him. And he was going to keep 2 as spares, and then I guess surplus 1.
And he is requesting to go from Explorers to F-150s because the powder sand on the beach has presented challenges for the police department to be able to patrol the beach strand. So he's asking to replace the Explorers with trucks.
So once again, do we have a list of all the police vehicles and what they're?
He has one. I'm not sure if it's in here.
Okay.
Yeah, every department basically has a CIP.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
And we're just going to incorporate all that into one.
And everybody kind of has it in a different format, and so it doesn't all match. If we can do the comprehensive plan, then it's easy to read, and the department heads know what their CIP looks like. But
So will
They're
that
not all-
comprehensive plan be ready for the next meeting? This is one you said you're going to go out to an engineer to do, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
this will be something that we will go under contract with an engineer to do. So it won't be, we won't have it for this budget cycle.
Okay,
takes a long
but
time.
everybody else can send. I mean, the police department can give us their
Yes.
updated that it comes in the next when you give us this next
Right.
package.
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
Any questions about the vehicles?
No. Thank you.
Okay, so
Go ahead. Go ahead.
we're talking about 38,000 per truck.
38, 30.
How many vehicles are we getting again? I'm sorry, I'm trying to read this.
3.
3
3.
for 172,000 fully equipped.
I thought he only wanted to do 2 of them as trucks and 1 as the Interceptor. Is that what it says? Yeah, he wants to replace 2 of the vehicles with the Interceptor trucks, and then
And then one more Interceptor.
and I think 1 more. The other one was the Interceptor, the Explorer.
So what
Yeah.
was that total number?
172,000.
That's with all the equipment and the lights and
Sirens.
all of that stuff. So because
that's-
all of that cost comes into the price of the vehicles.
And that's for 2 of the
3.
vehicles? That's for 3.
172,000 would be all 3 vehicles fully equipped.
So it looks like here he wants 2 F-150 responder
And 1 Explorer.
and 1 Explorer Interceptor. Okay.
and then
All right.
all the other stuff.
The upfitting is, okay, got it.
All right. Any other questions on the police vehicles?
I'm a little confused by some of it, but I can't figure what my questions are right now.
Yeah.
I get,
So how many vehicles does that bring him up to?
These are the replacements. Are you talking about in total for all departments?
So no. So
No,
how
for
many
him.
how many vehicles does the police department have? How many patrol cars?
How many do they have
So
now?
20, 22, somewhere in that range, because
Okay.
there's 17.
Well, we would be able to
Position
see that when he gives
full-timers,
us
yeah.
the plan. He has that. Okay.
And there's one spare, so there's got to be
Right.
18. And these are replacements. They're not to additional vehicles. But he was going to keep a couple of, instead of surplusing 2 of them, he was only going to surplus 1 and that would replace the spare vehicle that I think is really old.
And we're moving one of his to the planning department for them to use to go out and do their inspections in.
So what does these 3 new trucks, what do they take the place of?
Explorers.
The Explorers, the actual cars we see around town all the time?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
No. Okay. Good.
Okay. Radios.
So this was a 3-year project where he's gotten replacement radios. This was the next round of that, so 5 radios. And these are the portable radios.
And
It's the same issue where they can't get the parts for them and the service for them because they're outdated and
Yeah, Motorola's not making the parts or servicing these radios any longer.
So we still buying Motorola, newer Motorolers,
Mm-hmm.
rollers.
what difference he needs in the fire radios?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I would think they're the same. Yeah, the radio that I have sitting on my desk, I hear them all. So I don't know if there's a difference between a police radio and a fire radio or not.
conditions, maybe.
There's certainly a difference in the cost.
Well, these are about $3,500 a pop, where the fire radios being priced out at $5,000 a pop.
And the fire rate, they may be able to go in a fire compared to these. I really don't know, honestly.
But it would be good
Where is it?
to understand why that is. That's a big difference.
And they look different.
Well, with some of that, the thermal imaging thing,
Mhm.
On the radio?
I-
Thermal imaging on the radio?
I'll make a note
Can
to ask
can
them
we get some
what the
explanation?
difference is between their radios because I really don't know that.
Yeah.
wow,
Never really thought about it.
They are different pictures.
They are different.
Oh, yes. Yes.
well, communications is so important.
Yeah.
For both the police and fire.
Yep.
It was just a sort of, I wonder why question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good question.
But you know,
I just assumed they were just different radios.
So this is a 3-year project. This is the last year of the 3-year project. We've been funding this in the past 2 years, and this would end it with the 5 radios. How many radios did we buy last year? That's not a question you probably don't know.
Yeah, I don't have that in front of me.
Okay.
That's another question that we could write down because I'll have a breakdown of last year, what we have, and so last year's budget, this year's budget, when we're going through it and looking at it and actually pulling stuff in and out. Oh, my watch got too.
They asked for 4 of them last year.
Yeah, John's got the answer.
They asked for how many?
4.
4.
Okay. And this 5 finishes it. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, that was the fire department that asked for 4.
Oh,
I feel like we added the radios after, or something like that. But I'll go through last year's budget, and
Okay.
we can get that. Do you know about the cameras? Because this I don't really know that much about.
No.
So I know that they use cameras throughout the town. It helps them monitor the traffic and different things. We added one this year, right? Over by the thing.
Yeah, we added one at the Birdwatch this year.
That was
Yeah.
that was
And
nice.
the cameras are good. It just helps to deter crime when somebody looks up and sees a camera, and it helps them, like Tara said, with traffic. And I think where they're asking for them,
like accidents
Yeah.
on the 4-way intersections and things like that, you can actually go back and see what happened.
right?
I mean, it could be even it catches somebody, a breaking and entering as they're leaving. They can see where this car was headed and stuff like that. That was, I think, pretty much basically how it was presented.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not in law enforcement. So
the question I'd have for the chief is, are these cameras any better than the ones we have now as far as resolution is concerned?
I don't know anything about even what our cameras are now.
Okay.
So
I'm not asking that
Yeah.
question, but that would be one for him.
absolutely.
Well, I would
That was a
definitely
problem.
think-
There was a problem incident that occurred that I know of, and we could actually. I came over here and we looked, and we could see the car, we could see the person. We could not make out the license plate. Even it was far away. Couldn't make out the license plate, and couldn't make out the model, make of the car.
That was at the Birdwatch, right?
Yes, that was a bird
Okay,
watch.
that was also at night.
That was night,
That was also about
But-
8 o'clock at night.
but
But
Yeah.
most crime occurs at night.
you could.
Well,
You could make out the car, the person.
Yeah.
You couldn't get even the
Right.
make of the car. So it was frustrating a little bit for him at that time. I remember,
Yeah.
and it was a little frustrating for us too. So okay,
And I would think with the newer technology is going to have better
That's what-
resolution.
I would hope. Yes.
And it looks like the areas that he's recommending that these cameras be installed are potentially trouble areas.
Yes.
Usually the resolution would be tied into how much focus they have.
Mm-hmm.
They usually set these things to have a much broader view,
Mhm.
and that
Mm-hmm.
you don't generally get the resolution.
That's right.
To have the resolution, you have to zero in,
That's right.
and then you miss it.
And it also equals the cost of the camera too.
Yeah.
Plus, the camera could be much more expensive with better resolution. So, anyway,
Well,
that's a question for Ken.
The other thing is, there's no point in having a camera if you can't decipher what you're seeing. And I know the importance of having these cameras. It's not like the need in a big city, but looking into the future, might think about a better camera. If you want to put that on in your questions for the chief.
So the quality of the camera.
Yeah, just the resolution of the new cameras, quality of cameras. Is it what he really needs, or is he being frugal? I'm not sure.
The other question in there is about 4 or 5 years ago when they put up a camera to cover the park and the memorial. One of the concerns, actually throughout the town, was getting line of sight, basically to the top of the water tower. They had to have line of sight to the water tower, and so my question is, if we're moving the monitoring station, if you will, back to the town, do we have any other line of sight issues or things like that? I'm sure they've thought about that, but I don't know what it is and how it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't remember exactly why the equipment was put at the fire department to begin with. But that may be.
Yeah, that means somebody has to go over to the fire department, sit down and monitor it.
Right.
Or go,
Mhm.
you know.
Right.
At
Because
least,
that's where the storage equipment is.
yeah.
for
at
it.
least if the station is here, there are people around that
Mhm.
can sort of keep an eye on things. But the DVR aspect of it enables them to go back for a period of time.
Mhm.
I'm not sure how long that is, but
Mhm.
that's, yeah. Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Nope.
No.
So these were some personnel things that right now currently they have uniformed detectives that they're just, I think the way that he's explained it to me is that they're doing detective work, but they're still patrol officers. And we don't really have a classification for them. So I think he was wanting to bring these two officers up to detective pay, but they'll still be uniformed officers. They won't be just detectives. They'll be patrol officers as detectives, but now getting the money for that. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. When we promoted Stan to captain and just left Jared as the single detective, the things that these uniformed police officers are doing are minor detective work. They're not involved in the big cases that Jared actually works on. So we're just basically putting this classification into the
salary schedule.
the salary schedule and increasing the pay of the two or four.
Two.
It's two.
Two.
Two detectives?
That's what I thought.
Two uniform
Plus
detectives.
I think
Jared.
it's two. Yeah, two plus Jared.
So it's just adding to grade 14. It's just adding uniform detective. And he's saying roughly it would be around $9,000 for the salary
Right.
line. There's no additional people. It's just changing the classification.
But the key thing is they still are part of the patrol.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So if there's an accident,
Yeah.
this uniformed detective would be the one that would handle that scene and collect any of the whatever you do when you're
Evidence.
a detective.
And additional training, additional trainings and things like that. So they'll have more training, more specific training for their detective work.
Haven't some of them already received some of that training?
They
They're
do.
doing it now.
Mhm.
They're just not being compensated for it now.
Okay.
Yeah, we got two now, Officer Milasar and Officer Butler. But Butler has gone to part-time now, right?
Kevin Long. Yeah. Kevin. Yep. Officer Long is filling that role that Ms. Butler vacated.
So basically, we have two people doing the job now. We just want to put them on pay schedule, proper pay schedule, and pay them accordingly.
Correct.
Okay.
And so, do these, as a detective, have they met the sergeant requirements first before being promoted up to detective? Do they have to go through sergeants first to do that?
I don't think so.
No, it's
Mm-mm.
separate.
Okay.
It's a different skill set.
What would the salary be? The 9720.
The range would be the 48 to 72. I don't know what each of these employees' specific salary is currently, but he is saying is that the combined change would be approximately 9,700.
I'm just curious where it falls within that range and how much.
If they're in that range, whenever you get changed to a new classification, if they're already in that range, it's 5%. And if they're not in that range, they come up to the bottom of the range. Anytime anything changes like that.
If they're not in that range, but if they're going as regular officers, they would be not in that range. So they would go to the bottom of that range.
It just depends where they're,
Mhm.
because there's some overlap in the ranges. And then with doing that, he was wanting to do a supervisor position, like a lead detective supervisor position, which would be a detective sergeant. And it's saying a 5% pay increase per the town policy.
Well, if you're going to have these uniformed detectives, they're going to have to report to somebody.
Right.
So
So
I
he's
would
saying they'll
think
take on
Jared-
management.
So where does Detective Cox fit into this picture?
Well, specific personnel, I wouldn't know. If he's planning on making Detective Cox the lead detective,
Yeah.
like that's within his department. I don't have
I-
anything to do with that. I just know. So if he chose any of the three to be the lead, this is what would happen.
Okay.
It's not an additional person.
Understand that. But we're going up, we're moving up now. We're going to have 3 detectives. We've got the captain. We've added 3 detectives in there, and we've got at least 4 sergeants running around. 3, 7, 8. It doesn't leave too many patrol officers.
Those 2 detectives remain patrol officers. They do not come off of patrol. They just have additional duties. So their detective work portion of it would be reported to the lead detective. But they're still patrol officers. That doesn't change. They're just uniformed detectives.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty clear uniformed detective is the position. And I would think that Jared would be is the detective rank.
Mm-hmm.
It would be him that would be.
Yeah, I just don't
promoted
want
or
to. I
advanced.
can't comment to that
Right.
because.
Well, I'm just.
Yeah.
And this would establish that when the detective sergeant arrived on a scene, that he would then be the lead on that scene. Even if there was a sergeant on the scene already, as soon as the detective sergeant got there, he would take command of that scene.
Oh, it's easy.
It's
easy
more
for me to understand.
established in the hierarchy of the police department so that there's no questions. We have had a couple of instances where the detective arrived and the sergeant was already there, and it became an issue with who's on first.
But I think there's a question, so are we taking from the patrol side, which would weaken that arm of the force, let's say?
No, you're not.
Okay.
Because if he is intending to move Jared into this detective sergeant role, then you have a detective position that is not funded at that point until you need to be able to, until the town grows to where it needs another detective, a primary detective, not a uniform detective, but somebody who specifically focuses on detective work.
Well, that would be Jared's job. He's already the detective.
Right.
Now he's got to supervise the 2 uniformed detectives. He would still do his normal investigative work.
Absolutely. I'm saying in the future, when the town grows to the size that it needs a detective and a detective sergeant, that position is already in your schedule. It would just have to be funded at that point. Just like last year, you added finance 1, finance 2, town clerk, deputy town clerk. Those positions weren't funded at that point. That's all it is. It's
So we're
just-
adding it to our pay schedule,
right.
Yes. That's the
Right.
yeah.
anticipating the future.
Correct.
But it doesn't mean he's going to pop up next year and want another body or 2 or 3.
Not unless the crime increases.
When Will the department heads be here at the next session
hmm
when we're talking? So
Everybody will be here.
the chief, an area of concern that we're not covering here, but since these are personnel positions that come in, is sort of an evaluation of what our attrition is. From we've got different concerns and different standards with public works and stormwater, police and fire. So how many are we losing? How many are we replacing? And what kind of reasons do we have for the personnel leaving? And that kind of rolls through is in terms of where do we stand in terms of the competition, the rest of the county. And I guess Brunswick County and Horry County are our two major concerns.
As far as personnel.
Personnel,
I mean-
particularly in the police and fire department, there's a lot of, it appears to me there's a lot of mobility in
So one of the things
both
that,
departments.
one of the things that's coming across the listserv, just to give you kind of an update, I think you've seen this too. A lot of the towns, even around us this year, because I guess of what's happening with the economy and things like that, are doing COLA and merit.
We did that last year, essentially. When we restructured our pay scale,
We brought our scale
we
up
came
to
up to about a
Ocean
5% pay raise. Then we did a 3%.
Yeah,
know,
I'm just letting you know
yeah,
it's out
yeah.
there. So
Okay.
they're saying 5% COLA. Actually, I've seen 7%
Seven.
COLA
Yeah.
9.
and 9% COLAs plus 3% merits.
But they're using the
And that's
rescue.
right around here in our neighboring
Yeah.
towns.
Aren't they using the American Rescue Plan funds?
No. That's a one-time thing. That's not an
Yeah.
operational moving forward
Yeah.
type thing. So American Rescue Plan funds are going to be, in most towns, used for salaries this year to get that money into your fund balance, not to fund.
Specifically pay out.
Yeah. You're just saying you're using it on your salaries so that you can put that money into your fund balance and use it on capital. That's what the school of government, the League of Municipalities, everybody is saying this is what you need to do.
Okay, well,
That makes that's the easiest to be able to report it. If you tie it into COLAs or merits, or if you tie it into capital, there's a lot of behind the scenes work.
so if we have
reporting and-
roughly $600,000 a year, we can go back to the rescue plan reporting and say that we're taking and using $600,000 to.
We're going to have 1.3 million as
Into-
of July.
Okay, that's the second
And
year
so
added in.
that's this year. It'll come up in July of this year. We'll have it by July of this year. So in this next budget, we can use $1.3 million on our salaries. And then that money will just be in our fund balance. It's supplanting.
Yeah.
They're telling everybody supplant this money
Yeah.
because if you buy a trailer and then in 5 years you sell that trailer, you've got to send money back to the federal government.
Okay,
So they're saying, go ahead and do it on salaries.
Okay.
You don't have to have all there's like, it cuts off half the policy.
but you don't have to increase the salaries by that amount.
No,
No,
it's
no.
current
You just-
salaries.
You just put it in.
so that
Okay,
would be used up in fire and police.
Okay.
Right out the gate.
quick.
okay.
But it doesn't have anything to do with anybody increasing.
So it gives us a
or anything.
$1.2 million bonus to our general fund,
Right.
essentially.
That's right.
And
But-
then you can strategically use it on what you want to use it for. You can take a step back.
Without the detailed reporting requirements.
Right.
Okay.
But Tara and I will be proposing a COLA and a merit to you all because all of the surrounding towns, I've already been in conversations with all the administrators and managers, and every municipality in Brunswick County is doing a COLA and a merit, including the county.
which will affect our staffing.
Right.
Well, I don't think I'm gonna have much of a problem with that. We have to stay competitive or we're gonna lose. And I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but we hire these people, we train them, and they gain experience, and then they can get for example, a firefighter. He can go to Horry County and make more money with similar benefits. You do what you have to do to support your family. So we want to keep these people here.
Yeah, and it's just proposing and showing you what the other towns are doing.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Okay.
But when you do this, you will actually be showing us what the other towns are doing?
Mhm.
Okay.
Or proposing. I mean, nobody
Yeah.
will have their budget
Yeah.
passed yet, but
Yeah.
what everybody's proposing. The other thing that the police department is asking for is their current administrative assistant, Sherry. She's working part-time right now. They're asking to make her full-time. He has done 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of his justification for that. So I would just say I would read through that. I don't really think I can answer too many questions as far as the justification by it, but it's very specific if you read through all of them.
So he says here what the salary would be.
39.6.
Right. So what is it?
Right now
Salary
she's
for-
part-time.
So I don't know what that means in terms of.
Right,
She makes
she has to
$17 an
work.
hour.
Yeah, she has to work less than 999. She has to work 999 hours or less
Okay.
at an hourly rate right now, which I think is not on here. Is it 14 or 15? Something like that.
I think it might be 17.
17. I'm not
Somewhere
sure.
between 14 and 17 an hour.
Okay.
So that's 17,000 a year, say roughly. So this
Right.
is 20,000.
And she
up.
basically has to take November and December off because they are in such need of this administrative assistant that she works probably 24 to 36 hours a week. So when you're working that many hours, it doesn't take long to get to 1,000 hours.
And then she just can't work anymore the rest of the year.
Right. And the 1,000 hours is for retirement. If you work over 1,000 hours, we have to take retirement out. Because in
Yeah.
the state, it's mandated 6% that goes into the retirement system.
So the salary is that's the entry level for the
Yes.
grade 10.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then when you get the comprehensive budget, it'll have all the benefits and everything else. That'll all be included in that.
This does not include any benefits or anything.
No,
No.
this is just that
This is the
salary.
base salary.
But the benefits will be roughly about 30% of that,
I don't know percentage, but
roughly.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, so it's another 12,000. So the cost is actually about 50,000 roughly to do that. Okay. All right.
Okay.
I think that's it in here. Yeah.
The one thing that Dustin didn't mention in his budget was we are getting quotes for town hall to do the carpet and replace the carpet and paint. We don't know what those fees will be yet. You remember, we've looked at that for the last couple of years, and we've decided not to do it for the last couple of years. So it's just to throw it out there. I mean, the condition of the carpet's as bad as it was 3 years ago, if not worse. The bathroom floors, the kitchen floor, so we're looking at coming back with some type of laminate in all the common areas and then carpet in the offices and in here.
I was noticing today the carpet over there by the door.
Hmm.
I was going to suggest.
And
that-
it's been cleaned and cleaned and cleaned, and what's there isn't coming up anymore.
We've had it professionally cleaned.
Twice.
So what we have in addition, we've got the parking lot is pretty well covered. We've already taken care of the landscaping will be done.
Hmm.
And when the landscaping is done, it'll be attractive and people will be coming to our meetings and we'll have more use of that parking lot.
Right.
We are in the process, we already approved buying the lot across the street for 800,000. Will the budget have sort of the payment package, how that will work?
It was our understanding that you were just going to write a check for the property across the street, that we weren't going to finance that.
That was my understanding.
Okay.
So we
That's
haven't
what was
looked at
said
any
originally.
finance
Yeah,
options for that.
Okay. So that won't show up. It'll be,
It'd be a budget amendment.
Right.
and probably from this year's budget, if
That all depends
if
on
all goes
the
Right.
timing.
And right now we don't have a closing date for the property across the street. There's a couple of issues that the attorneys are working through. So as soon as those get resolved, we'll be able to make a final decision on that.
More issues?
Or the same ones.
The same ones.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right.
What else do you have for us? Admin, got anything? You don't need any vehicles? You don't need a new typewriter? Do we still
No.
have typewriters?
Radio?
No.
You need radio?
We do, but Katie can't use it.
Katie doesn't know how to use a typewriter.
You know, the keyboard's essentially the same, except you have to put more pressure down on it.
Don't do it.
No, administration's not asking for anything. Finance isn't asking for anything.
Planning,
We are
planning
looking at
inspections.
updating the website, and we're waiting on a quote to come in for that. So we will present that once we get it. We should have it in a couple of weeks. We'll have that.
Yeah, we asked them to have it to us before the April 4th meeting. So I think our next budget meeting is April 11th.
In the interim, is there any possibility of getting the department directories updated on the website? They're all way out of date.
Probably.
We're going through the website page by page right now.
I mean,
Between
that's
me, Lisa, and Katie, that's one of our things that we're trying to do is get it updated with all the correct information, because we'll have to have that as we upgrade the website.
Yeah.
So
But I
we are
mean, like in
working
the
on it.
discussion we have, police department here, you know, we have a lot of police people who are gone. And
Yeah, I
not,
don't even know who they are.
well, you don't know who they are and you're handling the budget. That's why. That's a useful tool to be able to go to a website and pull up the police department and see who the
Yeah.
people are, the fire department,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So,
I know what their names are. I just don't know who they are.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Yeah, we can definitely get those updated.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they're usually pretty good about telling me who I need to pull down.
Yeah.
And I thought they were pretty current, but
DPW
Maybe not.
stormwater hasn't been combined yet. People have changed.
Correct.
The across the board, they're pretty much out of date.
yeah, that's Dustin's fault. He hasn't taken any pictures and sent them to me.
Oh, yes. Dustin's not here. Throw him
Right.
under the bus.
That's right.
Is this the same company for the website you've used in the past, or is this a new
Yes.
company?
This is the same company.
Same company?
hmm
Okay. Do you feel it's a much more modern?
So they upgrade every couple years.
Mm-hmm.
We've presented this a couple times,
hmm
and it's just not been a high priority. So, but they have. I can even give you some cities' names in North Carolina of their websites that you can see of with the upgraded stuff of what we're trying to look
That'd
at.
be great.
Are we going to have
Because many towns in North Carolina use the same company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we going to have a specific staff person responsible for keeping it up to date? Not the town administrator or the town clerk?
The three of us are
Uh-huh.
pretty much the ones that
Yeah,
are gonna. I right now don't, but I will be. So
Okay.
also helping, and then Katie will also be doing it. So it'll be
Okay.
more than just one
Just-
person
okay.
trying to do it.
Okay. I keep telling people to go read it on the webpage,
Yeah.
and the webpage is a couple months out of date. And that sort of causes
Yeah.
Absolutely.
other issues and stuff like that. And I know there's a variety of reasons behind it, but
Mhm.
Right. And we recognize that.
okay.
Are we still going to add a place in that website where a citizen can ask a question?
Yes, we do have text.my.gov. We
Okay.
just don't have it uploaded
Okay.
yet.
Okay.
But we do have that creature.
Mhm.
And the website that we operate under now is the 2011.
Oh, 2011.
Model.
A model. Okay.
It's never been updated since the day I built it.
Mhm.
So it is definitely going to be a huge overhaul and will come into the 21st century.
And would have the ADA compliance with it as
Right.
well.
Is this the same website that Ocean Isle uses?
I don't know.
No.
what Chanel uses.
No, it's not. It's different. Okay. I've seen their website.
Any other questions?
Not just
Sure.
everything looks pretty good to me. I don't see anybody looking for anything that they don't really need. There's going to be no need to raise taxes.
How do you know?
He knows.
I think we're in good. I think the town is in great financial shape. So,
Well, I hope so.
Well, the one thing that I will comment on that is coming through my finance listserv a lot is fuel prices. That is going to take a chunk out of our budget this year.
Mhm.
Like the finance listserv is suggesting everybody double their fuel. I don't know as if we need to go that extreme, but that is the economists. That's what they're suggesting because they're saying it's going to skyrocket, level off, and then eventually start to come down. But that skyrocket, level off is going to be our 22-23 budget.
We'll see.
So you would definitely see huge increases across the board for every department in fuel.
No.
Anything else?
Good.
Have a motion to close the meeting?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Meeting's closed. Thank you very